Welcome to Reds Focus LFC fans. Today we bring
Liverpool's January plans are heating up. Cut price Marc Guehi, Isak replacement talk, Salah exit claims, and Konate's future. Everything you need to know in one video. Subscribe now for daily Liverpool FC news and never miss a Reds update. Liverpool's dream January transfer window as cut price Guehi deal agreed and Isak replaced. Liverpool's January transfer priorities include a new center-back and forward, with Marc Guehi once again a key target in a dream scenario for the Reds. It's Christmas. Alongside the festive merriment and family frolics, it signifies one thing for football fans: the transfer window is imminent. For Liverpool, this will be a crucial period. After 17 matches, Arne Slot's Reds find themselves in 5th position in the Premier League table, a standing that falls short of expectations for the champions. Despite a promising start with 5 consecutive domestic victories, Liverpool then suffered a disappointing losing streak, salvaging only a few wins to maintain some dignity. In their defense, the squad has undergone significant changes, so it would be unrealistic to expect all new players to gel instantly. However, after splashing out £400 million in the transfer window, the pressure is mounting on Slot and his team. Fortunately, they are currently enjoying a 5-match unbeaten run in the league, but due to a spate of injuries in key positions, Liverpool have no choice but to re-enter the market in January. In this piece, Mirror Football delves into the potential headlines we might see next month in an ideal situation for the red half of Merseyside. Isak replacement signed. While netting a goal against Tottenham Hotspur, Alexander Isak was on the receiving end of a hefty tackle from Mickey van de Ven and had to be helped off the pitch. A subsequent scan revealed that the Swedish international had suffered a broken leg, necessitating surgery. The duration of his recovery is yet to be determined, but it's clear he'll be sidelined for a significant period. As such, securing a replacement in the January transfer window has become a top priority for Liverpool. Hugo Ekitike is an exceptional player who has adapted seamlessly to the Premier League, but it's unfair to place all the burden on him. With Mohamed Salah set to participate in the Africa Cup of Nations for potentially up to a month, it's crucial that the Reds bolster their attacking options. Antoine Semenyo had been widely tipped as a possible replacement for Isak, with the Bournemouth winger previously expressing his ambition to play as a central striker. He's been one of the standout performers in the league this season, and a fierce battle for his signature was expected in January. However, the race for Semenyo took an unexpected turn on Tuesday when Chelsea withdrew their interest and Manchester City emerged as his preferred choice, according to The Athletic. No deal has been finalized yet, but Liverpool must start considering other options. A move for Brentford's in-form striker Igor Thiago could be a smart play. He joined the Bees in the summer of 2024 and has been outstanding in his second season, netting 11 league goals this year, outscoring Ekitike. Other potential targets include Ivan Toney or Dusan Vlahovic, although it's truly a wide player the Reds are in need of. Whether it's Thiago or another player of similar quality, anticipate Liverpool securing a deal to add firepower next month. Guehi signs long-term contract. This transfer nearly materialized last summer, but fell through at the last minute despite Guehi undergoing a medical at the club. With Guehi's contract expiring at the end of the season, Liverpool could potentially wait and negotiate a free transfer. However, it seems more probable that the Reds will put £15 million on the table for Crystal Palace to secure their man. With Giovanni Leone sidelined with a season-ending injury and Joe Gomez currently unavailable, Liverpool are short on defensive options. Moreover, with Ibrahima Konate's future uncertain ahead of his own contract expiry, it's crucial that Slot secures a new center-back to provide some stability for the club's defensive future. Guehi is an exceptional player who has proven himself in the Premier League and could be a long-term replacement for Virgil Dijk in the coming years. Ideally, Liverpool will make a move for Guehi in January to secure him on a long-term contract. Midfielder joins the club. Sky Sports have reported that Liverpool are set to ramp up their plans to bring in a centre-back, winger, and central midfielder during the January transfer window. Currently, they have Ryan Gravenberch, Dominik Szoboszlai, Curtis Jones, and Alexis Mac Allister holding down the fort in midfield. The first two players have been in exceptional form this season, with Jones also putting in some impressive performances of late. Liverpool made an unsuccessful bid for Martin Zubimendi last year, before the Spanish player decided to remain at Sociedad. However, Arsenal swooped in earlier this summer and secured his services. It's evident that Slot was keen on a defensive midfielder, but given Gravenberch's stellar performances in the number 6 role, it seems unlikely he still has that need. Whether a new midfielder will challenge Gravenberch or allow him to advance to his preferred position is yet to be seen, but it's clear Liverpool are in the market for another central player. Elliot Anderson and Adam Wharton, both enjoying a fantastic season, could potentially be open to a move to Liverpool. However, it seems improbable that either would make the switch in January. Another potential target could be Tottenham's midfielder Lucas Bergvall, a proven Premier League player who could seamlessly fit into the Reds setup.
I quit Liverpool after breaking all records. This is when Mo Salah should leave the club. Mohamed Salah was advised to leave Liverpool by an Anfield great last year under one condition. Ian Rush once made it clear that Mohamed Salah should only leave Liverpool once he gets dropped from the starting 11. The Egyptian star has endured a very slow start to the 2025-26 season, given his lofty standards. He scored 29 goals last term as he helped Arne Slot clinch his first Premier League trophy. But the 33-year-old's poor form this campaign has coincided with the team's wider struggles, with Slot struggling to fit in his new signings and evolve his tactics while producing results. Salah's disappointing displays finally saw him drop to the bench at the end of November, where he was an unused substitute at West Ham and was described as unhappy by his head coach. But Slot decided to leave the forward out of the starting lineup for the following game against Sunderland too, making it 2 consecutive games without a start for Salah for just the second time in his 9 seasons at the club. That does not bode well for Salah's future at Anfield, given legendary former Reds striker Rush claimed a year ago that he should only leave Liverpool when he is no longer a starter. Rush reflected on his own time at Liverpool when he left the club for a second time to join Leeds in 1996. The 64-year-old, who at that time was Liverpool's all-time top scorer, spoke about knowing it was time to go elsewhere. Rush said, "I left because I wasn't playing regularly. I just wanted to play football. I didn't want to sit on the bench, and that's what you've got to look at. I left here to go to Leeds United because I wanted to be playing week in, week out. I looked at Robbie Fowler and Collymore. They were doing really well together, and I didn't want to be sitting on the bench. I was enjoying my football, and that's the reason why I went to Leeds." Speaking last year, when Mo Salah was still in sensational form, Rush made it clear the Egyptian's situation at Anfield was different, emphatically stating, "But that was my situation. It depends if you are happy sitting on the bench or not. But Mo's not even got to that stage yet, so no, there's not really any reason for him to go yet." Salah was certainly showing no signs of slowing down when Rush made those comments. His goals last season were crucial in Liverpool lifting the Premier League trophy. In fact, there was huge concern that he would not sign a new contract and would leave the club on a free transfer at the end of the season amid interest from the Saudi Pro League. He finally put months of speculation to bed in April 2025 when he signed a new 2-year deal, which will keep him under contract until 2027. However, in light of his sharp decline and Liverpool's struggles, the forward might heed another Anfield great's words and walk away at the end of the season with his head held high.
These are the 25 best players to feature for Liverpool in the Premier League. You may not like it. The Echo has determined the best players to turn out for Liverpool in the last 32 and a bit years, and you're not going to be happy. 9 years is rather a long time in the relentless world of elite football. Back in December 2016, Liverpool were not even halfway through their first full season under Jurgen Klopp. A teenage Joe Gomez was the only present squad member at the club. The new main stand was still undergoing finishing touches, and the AXA training center was a figment of the imagination. Quite a lot has happened since then, and that's without even taking a global pandemic into consideration. In the impact of the Klopp years and the impressive start to life under Arne Slot can be reflected in an updated list of the top 25 Liverpool players of the Premier League era that was first published during the build-up to Christmas 2016. Arbitrary? Of course. Prompting debate over the Christmas pud? Most definitely. Did we miss out one of your favorites? Oh yes. But this is our list, and you're not supposed to agree completely, or indeed at all. So hard hats on, and away we go. 25. Alexis Mac Allister. The most recent name on the list, and just squeezing into the top 25. Not often Liverpool have a reigning World Cup winner in their ranks, and already the Argentina midfielder has demonstrated himself capable of operating in every engine room position with equal aplomb and was a driving force behind the title triumph last season. 24. Dirk Kuyt. A hugely popular figure under both Rafa Benitez and Kenny Dalglish, the Dutchman had a propensity for scoring in big games, such as every round of the Champions League, including a winning penalty in a semi-final shootout and a goal in the League Cup final, Goodison Derby winners, and a hat-trick from a combined 5 yards against Manchester United. Not bad for a striker turned into a winger. 23. John Barnes. The Barnes of the Premier League era was different from the devastating winger of the Football League days, who in the grander scheme remains in the top 5 of most talented players ever to feature for Liverpool. He was later transformed into a central midfielder who, given the modern game, could argue to be ahead of his time. 22. Dietmar Hamann. Nobody could win a free kick quite like the canny German, although he was capable of far more than falling over near the touchline to relieve the pressure on Liverpool. His display from the bench in the 2005 Champions League final highlighted exactly what Hamann was all about at his very best. 21. James Milner. Probably the greatest free transfer in Liverpool history when taken from Manchester City in the summer of 2015. He went on to play 332 games for the club and was vice-captain for the duration of his 8-year stay, during which every major honor was secured. Praise for being the ultimate professional overlooks the fact he was also a superb, versatile footballer. 20. Gini Wijnaldum. Questions were asked when Wijnaldum was snapped up from Newcastle United in 2016 as to where exactly he would play. They needn't have been asked, as the Dutchman became the mainstay of Klopp's greatest midfield triumvirate, his durability one of many fine attributes. And even when he didn't start, Wijnaldum's anger saw him produce one of the great Liverpool substitute appearances against Barcelona. You know what happened then. 19. Andy Robertson. Ever since Steve Nicol departed in the early 1990s, left back became an infamous problem position until another Scot was entrusted with the job, and after a slow start following his arrival in 2017, Robertson helped to redefine the role of the attacking fullback along with Trent Alexander-Arnold and remains a valued squad member. 18. Fabinho. The 2018 Champions League defeat to Real Madrid had highlighted the need for Liverpool to bring in a pure defensive midfield option, and within 48 hours of the final whistle blowing in Kyiv, Fabinho had been snapped up from Monaco to help the Reds take the final step both in Europe and the Premier League. Another whose display against Barcelona will be forever remembered, not least one challenge on Suarez. 17. Philippe Coutinho. Okay, he left under a bit of a cloud and was never the same player again, but $142 million from Barcelona is a lot of money and helped finance the squad transformation under Klopp. And there's no doubt that at his peak, particularly the title-challenging 2013-2014 campaign and the last 6 months of his Liverpool career, Coutinho was a joy to behold, an attacking midfielder who benefited more than many from the sheer love of playing for the Reds. 16. Fernando Torres. While Torres blotted his copybook somewhat by pushing through a move to Chelsea, it should be remembered Liverpool were a complete basket case of a club at the time, and similar to Coutinho, Torres simply enjoyed himself more with the Reds, striking up a remarkable on-field understanding with Steven Gerrard, and in his pomp, capable of scoring goals from whatever the angle or distance, a real striker's striker. 15. Steve McManaman. The 1990s could be viewed in large parts as the wilderness years for Liverpool, as they struggled to adapt to the new commercial Premier League world, and it would have been even darker but for McManaman, who was consistently among the Reds' best players season after season, and whose wing wizardry earned him Man of the Match awards in winning FA Cup and League Cup finals. History has rightly been kind to him after the furor sparked by his, at the time, unusual free transfer to Real Madrid in 1999. 14. Xabi Alonso. There haven't been many midfielders in Liverpool's history quite as silky in possession as the Spaniard, although Jan Molby runs him close. Pinging balls left, right, and center, Alonso was always going to be a crowd favorite, but had bite to his game too, as shown in arguably his best-ever display in a derby win over Everton in 2006, following an early red card for Gerrard. His subsequent success at Real Madrid and Bayern Munich underlined his supreme talent. 3. Sami Hyypiä. One of the centre-back greats at Liverpool, part of both the 2001 treble-winning team under Gerard Houllier and still there when the Champions League and FA Cup were claimed under Benitez. His clever positioning meant a lack of pace was rarely exposed, while his height made him strong in the air, and his impressive tally of 35 strikes in 462 appearances shows he knew where the goal was, such as against Juventus in the Champions League. 12. Michael Owen. Owen remains persona non grata to some Liverpool fans. Playing for Manchester United can do that to a footballer, but that can't disguise the huge impact the striker had during his 7 years in the first team, with his pace and devastating finishing, frightening opposing defenses, and making him unplayable when his hamstrings were healthy. Not many have an FA Cup final named after them, and he also remains the only Liverpool player to win the Ballon d'Or. 11. Roberto Firmino. While Klopp described Firmino as a welcome gift on taking over as boss in October 2015, his predecessor Brendan Rodgers didn't really know what to do with the Brazilian. The new manager put Firmino into what became known as a false nine, and the rest is history. The forward scoring 111 goals and providing 72 assists in 362 appearances, with his box of tricks and outrageous imagination making him one of the most popular strikers to play for the club. Si, senor. 10. Jordan Henderson. Henderson will always be one of the most divisive players ever to pull on a Liverpool shirt, with his strengths being seen as weakness by his critics. But there was a reason why Rodgers made him captain, and Klopp saw no reason to change that throughout his tenure, with the midfielder becoming the only Liverpool captain to lift the league title, the European Cup, the FA Cup, the League Cup, the UEFA Super Cup, and the Club World Cup. Ask his teammates how good he was, and there's your answer. 9. Sadio Mane. There's a good argument to suggest Mane was the catalyst for everything that came after his arrival as one of the first major signings of Klopp's reign. Having started as a right winger, he shifted to the left flank after Mohamed Salah's signing and, along with Firmino, became part of one of the most feared forward triumvirates in the modern game. That he ended his Liverpool career playing down the middle underlines his versatility, an attacker who could do it all. 8. Jeremy Carragher. Only the venerable Ian Callaghan has managed more Liverpool appearances than the 737 Carragher racked up during a career that saw him start in central midfield, then switch to left back and right back before finally settling at centre back. His performance in the 2005 Champions League final encapsulated the Bootle-born defender, whose sheer refusal to admit defeat proved infectious. Not many people can say they were there for all 5 goals Carragher scored in his career. 7. Robbie Fowler. Fowler has a strong claim for being the most natural finisher to ever feature for Liverpool. Such was his ability to find the onion bag with such unerring regularity. He scored 30-plus goals in 3 successive seasons during the 1990s, having set the tone by netting on his debut and then scoring 5 on only his 4th start as an 18-year-old. Injury problems cut him down in his prime, otherwise Fowler would have perhaps been higher on this list. 6. Trent Alexander-Arnold. Rare can a player be said to have reimagined what is possible from a position, but Arnold did that after breaking into the first team in late 2016. Under Klopp, Liverpool were built around the right back as a playmaker, and he delivered a record number of assists for a defender in the Premier League era. While his unique talent meant he was occasionally misunderstood, not least at international level, nobody could dispute his phenomenal contribution to the Reds. Like with McManaman, the fury among some at his departure will dissipate over time. 5. Alisson.
4 things that definitely happened to Liverpool in 2026, including new signings and Florian Wirtz change. Liverpool had an eventful 2025 and heads into the new year with ambitions of at least making the Champions League spots, and maybe more if the recent upturn continues. For Liverpool, the year 2025 came with mixed emotions. There was the extreme high of securing the Premier League title and the extreme low of losing Diogo Jota and his brother Andre Silva. Those 2 moments, plus the title parade, which started joyously and ended in chaos, will come to define the 12-month period. Arne Slot lifted the trophy fans coveted most, but also suffered a run that saw some call for him to be fired. Looking ahead to the new year, then, comes with some uncertainty. Liverpool is still edging closer to getting back to the level that it wants to be at, with more improvement required in the coming weeks and beyond. Here are the 4 things you can definitely watch out for in 2026. Mohamed Salah's decision. While he might be out of sight at AFCON for the time being, something that came at a good time after his public outburst, Mohamed Salah will return to Liverpool in January and a decision will have to be made. Salah showed against Brighton that he is still more than capable of being a quality option for Arne Slot, and the decision really will be down to him. Is he prepared to knuckle down, or does he believe his status is big enough not to have to? If Salah is prepared to play a role, Liverpool will have a greater chance of success this season. No player is bigger than the team, however, and what the future holds, in the more immediate term at least, will largely hinge on him. More signings incoming. Whether it is in January or not, Liverpool will have to make more signings in 2026. Marc Guehi seems an obvious target at centre-back, while the other positions will depend on exits to an extent. Signing another forward, considering the Salah situation and Federico Chiesa's continued lack of action, seems a likely need to emerge, and adding some more depth in midfield might be a good idea. Centre-back aside, there is no glaring requirement right now. Depending on exits, contracts and other moving parts though, there will be more additions to get excited about this year. The question is more about the position. Arne Slot clarity. There was a point at which it was legitimate to ask if Arne Slot would still be in charge of Liverpool for much longer only a few weeks ago. Only his position since then, though, has strengthened. Slot came out of the Salah situation well, and results have since seen an uptick. While winning games is the only thing that will keep him in his post in the long run, Liverpool does look better positioned to pick them up now. The rot, it appears, has stopped. Liverpool has not been perfect in recent weeks, but better, and with the summer signings starting to look a little more settled, especially Wirtz and the injured Alexander Isak aside, that can only help. Florian Wirtz properly ignites. Liverpool has begun to see a little more from Florian Wirtz in recent weeks, but there are still many more levels to come. Off the mark in terms of Premier League assists, it won't be long before he adds his name to the score sheet too. Wirtz is simply too good not to work out in England, and now that he is getting up to speed in the Premier League, the German is starting to really leave his mark on things. At 22, it was always going to take some time to adjust. Now, though, he is ready to show his true worth. Hopefully that can continue in the final game of 2026 against Wolves. In the new year, it certainly will.
Everything Ibrahima Konate has said about Liverpool future ahead of January transfer window. The Liverpool defender, whose contract expires in the summer, has spoken about his future plans 6 times in 2025. We've collated all those quotes as a decision looms closer for Konate. Ibrahima Konate's uncertain future remains the biggest long-term transfer concern hanging over Liverpool. The French defender's contract expires at the end of the season, and as was the case with Trent Alexander-Arnold last term, Konate could agree terms with another club and depart at the end of the campaign. Liverpool would be powerless to stop him. Talks with the 26-year-old have failed to yield a breakthrough, although reports indicate that negotiations continue. In the meantime, Konate is still being linked with the likes of Bayern Munich, Paris Saint-Germain, and Barcelona, while Real Madrid has reportedly ruled itself out. But what has Konate actually said on the matter? Konate first spoke about the matter nearly a year ago when addressing questions from the media in a Champions League press conference last January. The centre-back admitted he had been offered a new deal by the club, but when pushed on if he was close to signing it, replied, "That's another conversation." Asked about claims from Fabrizio Romano that he had been in talks over a new contract, Konate added, "Who talked about that a few months ago? The club didn't say anything. I didn't say anything. It's one person that said that. I didn't know after I spoke with the club, but I think I am really focused on what happens now. We will see what will happen." In February, Konate was again in front of the cameras to preview a Champions League encounter. This time it was ahead of the PSG first leg, when the questions about his future were inevitable. Hearing big clubs like that being interested is very flattering, but now I'm focusing on this season. I want to win everything, take as many titles as possible, and then everything that happens in relation to my contractual situation, he said. It's my agents, my advisors who take care of that. As Liverpool collected the Premier League title in May, Konate was again quizzed on the topic. "You know, I just want to say one thing. Everything you saw on social media is completely fake. I didn't even ask for something from the club. They made me an offer, and I replied to them with something. That is it. The rest, speculation, that I want to wait until the end, I want this, all of it is completely fake. And even the big journalists said in November, I am very close to signing the deal. I was like, they have more information than me." It wasn't true at that moment, and that is why I was a little bit mad, because it wasn't true at this moment. I knew at one moment people would think I didn't want to sign the contract, but I was never close to signing it. We will see what will happen. After a summer away, Konate joked in September that Real star and French teammate Kylian Mbappé calls him every 2 hours to try and get him to sign for the club. Konate last spoke on the matter in November and hinted there could soon be an update on his plans, before a few days later admitting a lot is happening behind the scenes. "I've seen a lot of things," he said during a France press conference. "Liverpool have reportedly made me a new offer. I don't know where that information came from. My agents are still in discussions with Liverpool. I hope my decision will be made very soon so I can announce it." Later, during the international break, Konate added, "It's difficult. We can't say everything because a lot of things are already being said in the media. Some of the things that I read, I'm like, oh la la, that puts me in a tight spot with Liverpool fans, and they don't even know all the ins and outs."